We're now into the last few days of campaigning before the elections in Bosnia. The vote, which takes place this coming Saturday, is seen as vital in cementing the Bosnian peace process. One of the parties contesting seats in the Bosnian Serb areas is the ultra-nationalist Party of Serb Unity. The leader of that party, although he's not standing himself, is the once-feared Serb warlord known as Arkan. As early as 1992, Arkan was identified by the US State Department as a suspected war criminal for his activities at the head of the Serb Tigers paramilitary force. Today, the battle fatigues have been swapped for a politician's suit. On the campaign trail in Bijeljina, the BBC's Jim Fish asked Arkan about his party and its policies.
In our program, we want to make United States of Serbia. We want to make a Serbian country, of course, with all respect for other nations living in Serbia. In my party, I have Muslims, I have Croats, I have Hungaries, I have Albanians, I have all kind of people. We are not a chauvinist party, we are not ultra-right party, we are a center party. I don't have nothing against Muslim people or against Muslim population. I have a lot of friends who are normal Muslims. They have their religion, I respect that. I used to visit them, they used to visit me, and it's normal.
Are you saying then that the many thousands of Muslims who were expelled from this town and this region were all extremists?
Of course.
Those women and children?
Of course, not all the Muslims are guilty. 99% probably are not guilty. Only this 1%, the same Serbs, they are not guilty. 99% are not guilty. Croats, the same thing. But the politics make enemies, and probably the best neighbors become enemies. That was this bloody war. The most stupid war we have in the century.
What do you say to those governments and people who accuse you of war crimes here in Bijeljina and also in Croatia? Would you be prepared to defend yourself at the Hague Tribunal?
The Hague is political court. It's not court of justice. You could see that the Hague Tribunal is made specially for Serbs. Let's be fair. Let's see who did war crimes, who put that bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And then what about Vietnamese? What about those people? They've been bombed, civilians, thousands dead. No one went to the court. They are heroes in the United States. And now we are talking about our crimes. We didn't do crimes, not even one crime. I don't admit never that we or my God did one crime, because we came here when 5 Serbs were killed, when a long list of Serb were on that list to be killed.
But if you didn't commit any crime, then surely there's no problem with going to The Hague and defending yourself.
Yes, but you know that, as I said, I'm not afraid of nothing. You have to know. If I was commanding in this war I was fighting, I was always first. I was giving example to my units. So the same thing, I'm not afraid of nothing. But as you said, and as I'm telling you, it's political court. It's nothing to do with the justice.
Arkan, the leader of the Party of Serb Unity, speaking to our correspondent Jim Fish, who joins us now live from Bosnia. Jim, just give us a sense of how popular, in a political sense, Arkan is in the Serb areas of Bosnia where you are.
It's very hard to judge his popularity, but he certainly does strike a chord among many Serbs. There were about 3,000 who turned out to this rally in the main square in Bijeljina, and he did get a fairly warm reception. He was cheered on a number of occasions. It's a surreal experience actually being there, because here you have a large crowd of impoverished people who've been through a war and have got really nothing to show for it. Listening to a man who's dressed most immaculately in a stylish dark suit, surrounded by his glamorous candidate, Ljiljana Perić, who's the lady who's standing for president of the Bosnian Serb Republic, and all his bodyguards in their sharp suits. It's a really extraordinary contrast of wealth and poverty. But nevertheless, he does seem to be. He has this charisma which does draw people to him.
Briefly, is there any sense of embarrassment on the part of international bodies running this election that here is a man identified certainly by the US as a suspected war criminal, although not indicted, running around campaigning an election which was supposed to bar war criminals?
I think everyone would rather that he just went away and did no campaigning or anything like that at all, but that's not the reality. He's not the only one. There are a number of very shadowy characters. Vojislav Šešelj is another paramilitary leader who's who's campaigning and putting up candidates. There's very little that the international community can do about this. In fact, it's been revealed in the last week or so that, in fact, the international community, through the OSCE, is actually funding a lot of these parties because it has to be seen to treat everyone equally, and therefore every party, whatever their origins, has to be in receipt of campaign funds from the international community. It's one of the ironies of Dayton.
Jim Fish in Bosnia.